So I'd say, look, there's three sort of big buckets of benefits. So the first one is around driving more revenue through more relevant, personalised offers for the customer. And in that space, airlines have been personalising offers in some way, shape or form since the 80s, right? The problem we're in is that we're still doing it the same way today as we were back in those days. And yet we know that the quality of the offers that we could produce is much, much higher than it is now, and we're being constrained by the infrastructure we have today. So that's one big area of benefits. The second really is around the customer journey and improvements to the customer journey. So with order management, customer references will be consolidated from potentially many, many references in a single journey to a single reference, which is significantly less confusing for the customer. It is also less prone to things like technical errors in the digital space, and it creates a more consistent experience when traveling, for example, on in-flight journeys, which sell more consistently with a single reference. And then the last sort of bucket, which is often, I'd say, underappreciated or maybe not talked about as often as it should be, is around speed to market and agility. And the reason that is that, most airlines over the last decades have had to build up a lot of complexity in their fare filing and in their systems, creating systems on top of systems on top of systems, all really to get around the constraints or try to get around the constraints of the current ecosystem. And the problem with complexity is it makes you slow and slows you down. It makes it very hard to change things, very difficult and expensive to change things. So with simplification of the business, everything should be faster. You should become more agile as an airline. So I'd say those are the three big buckets of benefits. Absolutely, orders will enhance the customer experience. And for me, it's really about simplification for the customer. So let's take references, right? In a fairly typical journey of today, where let's say you have a family of 4 traveling on a connecting flight, each with a bag and a seat, right? In today's world, that would involve 2 PNRs, it would involve 4 e-tickets, and up to 24 EMBs, right? So that's 30 different reference numbers for a customer. That's confusing. It's prone to errors, technical errors, more manual handling on the phone, and all of that is being consolidated into a single reference for the customer. So that's a really big customer change that's happening with order management. But imagine also a world where the customer was able to self-service through any channel that they wanted, com, chat, whatever, So it opens up more options, faster resolution of problems for the customer. And the other big change is potentially in the airport space, right? Imagine as a customer being able to get from your taxi or your train to your seat on the plane and never having to get your passport out of your pocket or never having to dig out your PNR reference number to check in. Those are all really customer-focused changes that only come when we've simplified the business of orders. The biggest challenge for the airline really comes when the airline digs into the detail, right? Now, I think it's increasingly accepted and understood that transformation into offers and orders is not just about technology, right? These aren't just systems you can buy and plug in or build and plug in. They are really fundamental transformations of the whole business, right? They affect people, they affect the products that you sell, how you work, how you do things, right? All these things are going to be affected. So we can take one topic. There are many, many topics we could take, but let's take one example, right? Which is the removal of filed fares or the removal of RBDs, either one, right? Just think of how many processes, people, reports, IT systems touch or speak to in some way a class or a fare. That's huge, right? So the work that needs to be done to understand what those dependencies are, and then the work to work out, well, how do we eliminate those dependencies? What does the future state look like? there's a lot of work to do, right? And for me, I actually think this is probably one of the biggest chunks of it probably is the biggest chunk of it the airline itself will need to do, as well as the actual IT implementation. I think it's a fantastic forum, right? Because it's a forum for airlines of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds and origins to come together really for the common good, right? To do thought leadership on behalf of not just themselves, but the whole industry, right? They are trying to solve problems. They are trying to make things easier for the whole industry to evolve. And when you look at the output that they've produced over the last year or 2 years, the quality of the output and the usefulness of the output is really, top quality in my view. And the content that they're producing, I think, is going to be relevant and useful for all types of different airlines, no matter where you are on your journey to transformation. And I really hope that they continue to, match that level of quality of output over the coming years.